Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Saturday, August the 22nd. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by the legendary Mr. Andrew Hansen. How are you tonight, Andrew?
Well, I'm doing well, Coach, but I'm disappointed for Luka, for NBA fans, for you as a Mavericks fan. That was just unfortunate. You know, the guy had a triple-double in less than 30 minutes, and he can't finish the game. Just a bummer. Would have been a much more exciting series and game tonight if he could have been out there.
You know, I'm with you, man. But I'll tell you, I'm not disappointed at all. And you know, I had mentioned to you a little bit before the podcast, you know, there's a process you have to go in maturity-wise in the NBA, experience-wise, to get to be a winner and to get to a championship level. And this is a perfect stepping stone for them. I mean, their core of Luka and Porzingis are 21 and 25 respectively. This is their first playoff series ever. They go against a phenomenally stacked, tough, defensive-minded, experienced team in the Clippers. And so they're learning. Everything they do is learning. You know, when Harrell and Morris were trying to get in Luka's head early in the game, and there was a pushing and back and forth, and all of that is all in the process of understanding, you know, the intensity of playoff basketball. So this whole thing is just a great stepping stone. I guarantee you in a couple of years from now, when the Mavericks are making deep run in the playoffs, we'll look back and say, you know, that was the first really good learning experience that took them to the next level. So, yeah, you know, I didn't really expect them to win the series. I think they battled their lights out. They could have won that first game if KP when it got tossed. They win the second easily, and they fought tonight. Even when Luka went down, they did not give up. They cut it to 8 late, and they fought. So, you know, I'm real impressed with the effort that they've given, and some of the ancillary players were hitting shots, Curry and Burke and Hardaway, and just, you know, they had a lot of guys contributing. So very excited. I did wear my black hat and black shirt because of the loss and the injury. See, I don't take it lightly, but you know,
Glass half full though. I like it.
It is, and yeah. I like that. You know, you can't just click the button and all of a sudden you make a championship run. It's, you know, there's just no way you do that. So this is a good thing. But, you know, the main thing is it's just, this has been a blast, DFS Coach Talk wise. I mean, Shane and I did the show last night. We had some great lineups, a lot of members cashing today. We've been smoking red hot in baseball. I mean, it's, I'm getting close to this Mr. Baseball is switching from Mr. Basketball to Mr. Baseball. I don't know. It's just we had Wilmer Flores come through 2 nights in a row with late inning homers, and man, it's been a blast there. Golf, I won't mention. I did want to use this word with my golf lineup because it was eviscerated today.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, Dustin Johnson. If we didn't have Dustin Johnson and Scotty Scheffler, it's just not set up properly for the weekend.
No, so you know, we don't have do the podcast on Fridays anymore for the PGA, but I'm still there and I still do my reload. You know, and you know, for the listeners, I had done it 3 weeks in a row where my Thursday lineups went down the commode, and then I do the reload for Saturday and make it back. So I'm going to give it another run tonight. So in fact, when we're done here, for our members that happen to listen, some jump right in as soon as we post it. I'm going to post a little bonus weekend golf lineup.
I like it.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I'm going to play some as well.
Good.
I got to watch a bunch today, so I'm with you.
Yeah, and I watched it too, and you know, I think that's what helps for the weekends. You can sort of see who's comfortable on the course and who's not. But yeah, we'll give it a run. So I'll probably, if you want to, I'll put a cash lineup up. You can put a GPP lineup up. Okay. We'll give our members that took a punch in the gut in golf with us on Thursday a chance to get that back. But I'll tell you, it's a great time to be a DFS Coach Talk member. I mean, like I say, we have just been rocking and rolling in basketball, and just murdering it in baseball too. So if you want to jump in, this is the time. We're at dfscoachtalk.com. You can get a membership for a week, a month, a year. And that's where you get access to everything in Discord, all of our sports, all of our pros, our wonderful community, a lot of action in there. And it's just really a hot spot to be if you want to win in DFS. Before we jump in here, let me quickly thank our presenting sponsors. We have mybookie.ag, the place to go for all of your sports wagering and casino action. Go to mybookie.ag or dfscoachtalk.com, and all you have to do is use the promo code CoachTalk, no space, all one word, and you get up to $1,000 matched by MyBookie on your first deposit, and a $25 free play just for listening, being a listener of DFS Coach Talk. And also tvg.com, the #1 horse racing site on the planet. You can go to our website at dfscoachtalk.com, click on the banner that says $300 risk-free bet TVG, and that's exactly what it is. You can put $300 in your account, wager it. If you lose it, TVG, 100% refund of $300. It is a great shot at some money to build your bankroll. All right, we are going to get into this, and we are going to break down these Saturday games. And we've got all the odds pulled up. The mybookie.ag odds are up. We've got the injuries, and if it's okay, I'm going to run through those very quickly, Andrew. And if you have anything you want to add to any of these guys, please feel free to jump in.
Roll it.
Rajon Rondo still remains questionable, which was surprising because he wasn't even supposed to play, but there's a possibility that he will. We do have a couple of Heat guys that are key to the injury report. Derrick Jones Jr. and Jay Crowder both questionable, so that's going to affect that rotation. We know Russell Westbrook remains out, and would you believe Anthony Davis is on this list?
No.
That's 5 years and 7 months straight. He and LeBron both are probable, so I think they may play. Giannis also with an appearance, and he's probable. We know that Zach Collins is out for the remainder of the season. He's actually has to have surgery on that bad ankle, so that is a loss for the Trailblazers. Doubtful, easy for you to say, is Michael Carter-Williams, the backup for Orlando. So more extended run for Augustine and Fultz there. The big questionable tag is Aaron Gordon. You know, it makes such a difference in that lineup, usage, rotation, everything. And he is still in there. He's missed 6 games in a row with that hamstring, and he's just literally going to be probably a game time decision. So we got to watch the news on him tomorrow. And they've already ruled in Damian Lillard, who had that dislocated finger, which I had that happen. It's not fun, but he is in. So that's our news for right now. And we're going to dive right into these games. First game of the day, the regular old 1 p.m. start. We're getting used to this drill now. Groundhog Day, man. I told you, it's awesome. It's great Groundhog Day because it's basketball all the time. We've got the Milwaukee Bucks and Orlando Magic. MyBookie.ag, updated line, Bucks minus 12.5, and we have the winner of the biggest total. It's just by a smidgen. There's 3 games that are almost the same and 1 super low game, but this game is the winner at 226. So give us the skinny Mr. Hansen coming off a day off, all fresh, all brain waves. You look rested, nice haircut. No hat. I mean, you're ready for winners here. Nothing but winners.
Right. Well, to give you the skinny, in game 1, I may have just a skinny bit of exposure here, just a tiny little bit, maybe a one-off, depending on the news. Gordon, whether he plays or not, is going to be huge for me. When he's been out, we've had a significant amount of exposure here to Ennis and Clark. They've been very good value plays. I think if Gordon's out again, I think you can go to one or both of them. I probably won't play them quite as much. Just a little bit of the shift in pricing. couple different things I like a little bit later in the slate. So I'm going to gradually build my roster as we go through the slate. Probably only one guy at the most here. You mentioned DJ Augustine. He's one possibility for the value play for me. Vucevic has been playing great. Because of the roster construction on FanDuel, maybe you go there, and he is cheaper. He's only 8.5, which is nice. He's getting priced up on DraftKings.
And then he's 9-1 on DraftKings.
Right.
Yeah.
On the Milwaukee side, the calf designation has me a little bit concerned for Antetokounmpo.
Okay.
Even if he plays, I know he can hit value. He's doing it in 32, 34 minutes. But again, I'm probably going to rather pay up for Harden, LeBron, and or AD. So I probably am going to just fade Milwaukee. Obviously, if he's out, that changes everything. If you're playing multiple lineups, you could grab a Milwaukee guy in the hopes that Antetokounmpo is limited and he doesn't play a full game. But if he plays a full game, like you said, there's so many guys. I just probably won't play anybody from Milwaukee.
How do you game script this? Do you think Orlando hangs in there, or is this game another blowout?
I think it's probably 12 to 15 points, Milwaukee.
Okay.
Just a steady, pretty easy victory.
Yeah, because in that stage, we won't lose the key guys the whole fourth quarter probably. So, that creates a little bit of interest. Bledsoe is only 5,500. That's not bad. I know he's been splitting a lot of time, with the veteran Hill at the point. So, that takes his worth down a little. And then you have, you slide in DiVincenzo and Connaughton and all the other, guards that are contributing there. It just makes it hard. Milwaukee is a tough team to roster DFS wise. Even when, you expect them to do well and they're the highest total on the board, it's like, if you don't take Giannis, then you're really taking a stab, if you roster Middleton or Bledsoe or any of these guys. So, you hate to use up the center spot for Brook Lopez, but when you look at Brook Lopez at 5,300 on DraftKings compared to Vucevic at 9,100, so you almost have a $4,000 split there. And Lopez can have good games. I've rostered Vuk the last two games, and he's been my anchor. But I just don't know in this game. I would think they're going to start collapsing on him a little bit. He's sort of been a one-man show. And I'm surprised that Coach Bud hasn't run more doubles at him in the block and trying to, really get him to have to face up and settle for jumpers. So I'm thinking that they're going to adjust a little bit defensively on him. So I'm more than likely going to fade Vuk. And, I was full Vuk carrying the flag the last two games. So, for the, with that, it's hard to count on anybody else from Orlando. Fournier is a shell of himself. He's playing terrible. And like you say, we've either played Clark or Ennis almost every day trying to get that value guy in there.
Right.
But I'm not crazy about him. I may look in some builds at Lopez, but I really don't like this game. I think it's got more of a chance to blow out than any of the other games. And I know it's the highest total, but it's only by a point or two. Yeah, I hate to sit out that first game again, but, it was a good strategy today. I sat out mostly those first two games, and I was, it's hard when you're down in the basement there, like in the bottom 10%. But then, we made a monster run in that last one in cash. So, not that it matters, but it's just, just for your psyche of watching the games, it's difficult. But all right, well, that's what we got. So we're both sort of on the same page. That's not a really conducive game for us the way we want to, roster build here. And I think a lot of people will use players in that game. So, all right, game two. It's the regular 3:30 game. Indiana Pacers and Miami Heat. What do you think?
Well, I've enjoyed playing Dragic and Butler here. I will go back to Butler again. Probably not 100% of my lineups, but a significant amount. Dragic, right on that borderline, a little bit pricey, but he did take 18 shots again last game, most on the team. Butler only had 13 shots. Bam had under 10. And so I'm just not going to play Bam right now. He's just not getting enough usage for me.
No.
Yeah. So it's Butler for me, number one. Dragic is in consideration, depending on the build. Basically, if on DraftKings, if you want to get one stud in there, then you can have a few of these balanced guys like Dragic. But if you're going for two studs, then he's not going to make it. So that's where I'm looking there. You mentioned Crowder and Derrick Jones Jr. both being questionable. If they're out, you could take a GPP stab at somebody like Iguodala or even Solomon Hill. He's minimum price. God. Yeah. But that's just a GPP play to get a little bit of a unique value play in there. But I figure at least one of them will play. So I don't think I'll end up playing either one of those guys. And then on the Indiana side, I do trust Brogdon. I could go there. And then Justin Holiday, 29 minutes off the bench. I think that's noteworthy. He had a great game last game, but he only took 4 shots. He had 5 steals and 2 blocks. So I don't think we can count on that. No. So I probably won't end up going there either.
Yeah, I neglected to say the line here, but the mybookie.ag is Miami by 5, but this is the game that's that super low total. It's I believe this is the lowest of the playoffs. It's 214. Do you remember one that low? I don't think so.
Utah Denver may have had one about there, but probably not quite that low.
Yeah, so I mean that scares you off the bat. You mentioned Justin Holiday. He's sort of only a play for me when Oladipo sits. I do like Brogdon. I think the fact that, they've changed the rotation and Dragic is starting now gives Brogdon a little bit more of an open play because Butler is guarding TJ Warren. So I think that I think Brogdon's a fine play here. On the Heat side, he's still priced low. He's still getting 30 minutes off the bench. And Tyler Hero, man, I mean, I don't see why not to play him. He's finishing games.
Yeah, he had 35 minutes last game.
I know. And the key factor is he played the last 5 minutes down the stretch and the ball was in his hands. So, yeah, I mean, he is elevated past none by a mile.
Right.
And now, has really become, to me, the second guard on that team after Butler and Dragic too. So, probably the third wheel, but a good third wheel. And, Butler will run some small forward also. So, I've used Hero so far and he's done me right. So I'm probably going to stay there. Like I say, I think Brogdon's a great play for the point spot. His price is still good enough. I don't know about Bam. I can't figure him out. He's had such a great year, but something just seems a little off with him lately. I don't know what it is, but I've noticed, I try to look into it to make a correlation, and it seems like this is what I can come up with is since Dragic has taken over the point for none, it seems as though the usage has sucked away from Bam, and it's Butler still getting his because none didn't have much usage. Dragic has a lot of usage, and you would think that would come away from Duncan Robinson or Butler or somebody, but it's not. Somehow, some way, it's come away from Bam. So that correlation is true. It's there. Statistically, you can look it up. But, I think that's the key. I mean, I was trying to figure out why isn't he right? And, that's the only thing that I can figure is he's taken the biggest usage bump down with Dragic being in there to start and being in main minutes, and with Hero coming through as well, because there were times in the rotation of Spoelstra where it was Butler and he likes to distribute the ball a lot, and then Bam was the next option. Now you've got Dragic looking to penetrate. He finishes a lot at the rim. Hero's taking a lot of jumpers. And Butler, because, he's manning up, he wants to outdo Warren, is taking more control of the game than he has before. And the guy that's left out in the wind is Bam. So as of now, I'm going to continue to fade him for that particular reason, and and look elsewhere for that salary. So that's about where I stand in that game. I mean, most of my action is going to be in these late two games again today.
Yeah, well said. And I do want to add, I think Hero is a nice pivot from Dragic, and you can play Hero and Butler together because you get that nice trade-off where Butler is dominating the action when he's in there. Then Hero comes in, takes over, and then, like you said, if they're both in there down the stretch, then they can help each other with some strong fantasy point finish down the wire.
Absolutely. All right, we got two games left. Game 3, it is an 8:30 p.m. game, the Lakers and the Trailblazers. So a lot of intensity in this game. It is Lakers -7.
Are we skipping around? Are we gonna do some Houston OKC too?
Did I missed that game? I did. Okay, we'll go backwards then. Let's wait on the Lakers in Portland. Sorry about that. I was looking at Boston and Philly at noon on Monday or Sunday. See, I don't.
It's hard to keep track of the days.
I just looking at all the games. Yep. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have our 6 p.m. game. It is the Houston Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder. Rockets -3.5 and the 224 number. And I'm a broken record, replay Groundhog Day. When Westbrook sits, I'm going to play Harden. I don't care. So there we go.
Yeah, I think I am too. And, if this had been the Milwaukee-Orlando game, I would have let you skip it. But it's Houston OKC, so I wanted to make sure we talked about the 6 o'clock game.
We got it.
Now I am going to start playing some guys here, 2 to 3 probably at a minimum. And Harden is certainly at the top of the list. And Houston is so great with fantasy because with Westbrook out, they're still only using an 8-man rotation. So you really get great minutes. Even if they win by 20, you should get enough minutes to hit value. So Harden is great. He is expensive, but he's going to be in my primary build. And then I like the other pieces along with him. Eric Gordon at 5.1 on DraftKings. House is 4.7. You put those three together, and last game you got 27 3-point attempts out of them. Now they didn't make money. I mean, they didn't make many, but they still allowed us.
You didn't make money.
We made because
they didn't make many.
we still made some money because of everything else they did, and like we talked about with our members, it's all about the opportunity, the usage, the shots.
Right.
And there's really no better example than somebody like Harden, who he can go 2 for 11 from the field on 3-pointers, but he may take 18 free throws. So he just finds a way. So I like all three of those guys. And you could also build a lineup with just Gordon and House, and hope that Harden just is sort of in that 50-point range instead of 65 or more. Mm-hmm. And it actually works on FanDuel pretty well. You can use them both as small forwards. So I'm gonna build some lineups in that way. On the OKC side, Adams is still in play. He's creeping up in price, but I do think he's worth considering, especially with a little game stack here. And I am going to build some lineups where I get 2 guys from OKC. Schroeder, I think, now that he's got his legs under him, this could be the time to really take advantage of his lower price at only 5.7. You get a really nice discount on DraftKings compared to Chris Paul and Shea. But those guys are in play for me as well. I mean, we know that those 3 guys run the show. So, at this point, I don't think any of them are bad plays.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very interesting game. I think you've got to have exposure to this game for sure. Like I said, I love Harden. He's my favorite play. I absolutely love Eric Gordon again. So eat that, Brenton. I'm playing him again. I do. I really think he's just such, like I mentioned the other day, he's going to get that usage of Westbrook's, almost all of it. So those two guys are really strong plays for me. I'm not going to fall and chase the big house game. I'm going to pass. I think he's going to be way overowned because of that. I get it that, he's hot and everything. That's fine. But I want to get off that chalk because I don't think he's got to regress from that last game, in my opinion. I still think Covington is interesting. I know he's had a series of bizarre games and not playing well, but I'm still considering him. Am I wrong to do that, you think?
Well, you're not wrong because he's been so strong since he's come to Houston,
Yeah,
but it's now too many games in a row where he's not shooting enough
right.
and he's just not productive enough. So, I mean,
It's weird
dealing
though. I
dealing
don't get
with
it.
dealing with the behemoth of Steven Adams is no easy task.
Maybe
And
that's what it is.
I
He's
think it's
he's
part of
wearing
it.
down on the defensive side,
Yeah, I'm not going to play him. I'm going to wait and see him rebound. I mean, and he's not the type of guy at around 6K who's going to go for 50 fantasy points and just crush you. I mean, he's more of a great cash play, decent for GPP. If he gives you 40, you're really happy, but I'm not really concerned that he's going to go for 50 and I'm really going to miss out on anything.
Yeah, I feel like he should be getting a chunk of that usage with Westbrook out. Now I know Gordon's taken most of it. This last game it was House. The game before that it was a combination of Macklemore and a few guys. I don't know, man. I'm on the bubble. The jury's still out for me. I'll let our members know in Discord what I'm going to do on the Covington side, but I can pretty much guarantee you that I'm going to have Harden and Gordon across the board. On the Thunder side, I like your Adams play that you've been on against the centerless Rockets. I just wish he got a few more minutes. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that's frustrating is they do play Noel a ton as well. But I do like Adams. I think he can put up numbers. His price is still tempting for sure. So I have to do a little thinking there. I'm probably not going to go with the ancillary guys as much like, Baisley because Dort is back. They're
Right.
splitting it up. And now that Schroeder is back and like you said, has his legs under him and back in the flow, I steered away from when all three of them are playing decent of Paul, Shea, and Schroeder because they share the ball and the DFS points. And if one of them's out, then usually you can really go there. But when all three play, it makes it difficult because even though this totals 224, they still prefer to set it up in half court and run the ball and move the ball. So, I'm not thrilled with the guard. Shea did have a breakout game. We were bad mouthing him on the last show and he busted out. So it was good to see him play well. But, if I go anyone on the Thunder side, which I really want to, especially if I go three Rockets, I definitely want to run it back with one Thunder because I do think this game will stay competitive throughout. So the question is, if I go with Adams or if I, can pay up and go with either a Schroeder, Shea, or Paul. So I've got decisions yet to be made in this game. This will be the game I'll be focusing on in Discord before lock, about an hour before lock tomorrow. Good.
Excellent.
Now can I
Yes.
go to the game that I've already
Now,
announced?
yes, let's do
And
it.
and the line has not changed
All
since I
right.
last announced. It is still the Lakers -7. This is the 8:30 game, and the total's still 225. So we've got sort of, the Lakers stepped up and just blistered them. So what is the situation here? Because this ends up being the key, as everybody knows. If we're getting a full run from LeBron and Dame and AD, man, they can take a slate down. But if it's going to blow out again, then everything changes. So what is the word, Mr. Hansen? Share this with our listeners.
Well, I don't think it'll blow out like that again. So it's back to LeBron and or AD. I think you can play them both together. tough to pick one over the other. Um, I want to mention Kuzma though, because he played 30 minutes in the first game. In the blowout, he only played 20,
Yeah.
and he's only 5.5 on DraftKings, and I don't think he's going to have that much ownership. I think it's a decent GPP play.
Okay.
Because we've talked a lot about how they need a third scorer. He's the best candidate for that, and that's a good price for him. Um, on the Portland side, Lillard is so expensive on DraftKings. I may only play him on FanDuel because he's way down at 9.5, but he's 10.8 on DraftKings.
That's crazy.
So I just probably won't do that on DraftKings. I'll probably go to Harden in those lineups. But I will go back to Wenyen Gabriel again. I mean, I am not going to be sitting here not owning Gabriel when he gets his 25 minutes and over 20 fantasy points. He's only 3.4 again. If he starts, I'll have him out there. I joked with our members about how in game one, he got his second foul with 4:45 into the first quarter, and he got taken out of the game. Game two, it was 4:55 into the game where he picked up his second foul. So he just has to stay out there, stay out of foul trouble, and I know he will pay off value. So he'll be in my lineups again.
I really admire your stick-to-itness. So that's for sure. I still disagree with it for the third game in a row, but I admire it. This is a hard one. I mean, again, we're almost in the same scenario. Feel like hitting a replay button that we were 2 nights ago, because if you are going to pay up, for Harden and such, you're going to be limited with what you can do here. However, I'm not paying up for Vuk this time like I did the last 2 nights, which allows me to get one of these suckers in there finally. So the question is it AD, is it LeBron, or is it Dame? I actually think that Dame may be the best play. I still don't think the Lakers have the backcourt that they were hoping to have to defend him, and I still think he can get his. And if this is going to be any semblance of a game, he's obviously going to have like 40 real points. So, I like the Dame play here. I was off from the last game. I even though he got hurt and they got blown out, at least he didn't have to push himself like he had every game, like 5 games before that. He got to rest at the end because of the finger in the blowout. He didn't have to, take the last shot. I mean, that takes a lot of mental and physical out of you. And I think he'll be just a slight bit more rested. And, he's playing phenomenal basketball. I'm definitely going to play him on FanDuel. I mean, that's a no-brainer at that price. The question is, I think that his ownership will be low on DraftKings because of that inflated price, which if you do suck it up and pay that price and you have him at, 18% or whatever, it could be boxcars for you if he has one of his crazy games, which he very well may. So, I'm looking at that direction. I don't think I'll be able to afford a LeBron or AD if I do go that direction. If not, I think I still favor AD over LeBron just because he's such an unstoppable force. I know he doesn't consistently have good games, but he's just such a difficult matchup for anybody, and the Trailblazers are having difficulty matching up with him as well. So the decision for me will probably come down to Dame or AD, depending on the build and the fit price-wise. As far as any secondary guys, again, I don't even want to mess with some of the Lakers guys. I don't trust Kuzma as far as I can throw him. And, some of the other guys, just they're hit and miss. It's just really the LeBron and AD show, if you ask me. And it's just not worth chasing those other points. From the Portland side, it's different, though. I think you have tons of options here. CJ is expensive, but he's a solid second guy to Dame. He can go off at any time. Nurk is a little overpriced, but still good. if you want to save a bunch of money and have the courage on Whiteside, I still think they'll play next to each other and he'll get some minutes. And, you never know if Gary Trent Jr. is going to get hot. So there's a lot of options. Even Carmelo, I mean, he's had some games 7-8x. So you've got a lot of options. I know that's basically the whole first 6 for Portland, but, I think that there's different spots you can go there. And I think a lot of those guys have a good shot at making value. So
summer is here and sports are finally back, which can only mean one thing. It's time to get back, relax, and make some cash. Everyone has to start somewhere, which is why you want to get off on the right foot by choosing an established book like mybookie.ag. With all the major sports seasons just around the corner, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. Dynamic betting lines and a simple-to-use platform make the process easier than it's ever been. Create your account in just a few easy steps. Deposit and begin placing your bets. Sign up now using promo code COACHTALK to get your deposit matched 100% all the way up to $1,000. Plus an extra $25 free play. That's promo code COACHTALK. Use it to score yourself an extra piece of the pie. With MyBookie, you bet, you win, and most importantly, when you win, you get paid.
I guess the point is, don't be afraid to use a couple of those value trailblazers to finish out a roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Portland is they are a lot like Houston, and they have a very, very tight playoff rotation. So I agree that they're all in play. I think my next favorite would be Whiteside just because of the price. I think Nurkic is too expensive. And McCollum and Carmelo and Trent, they really just haven't clicked yet in this series with the tough Lakers defense. So that's why I'm probably going to continue to fade those guys.
I'm with you, man. Well, not really, but yeah, I get it. All right. I think that's mainly just about everything. Anything else basketball-wise?
No, I think that covers it.
It covers most of it. All right. Do me a favor. If you're watching this right now, don't turn us off yet. Wait, we have something else to tell you. So definitely subscribe, please, on YouTube. We need the subscribes. We need the thumbs up. And we need you to click that alarm button so you know when our podcast posts. That is very important. If you're listening to us through any of our podcast audio sites, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, what are the other ones? Podbean, iHeart, on and on. Do us a favor, especially on iTunes. We're having a giveaway. There's only 8 more days in the month. For anybody that puts 5 stars on iTunes and puts a comment, we're going to have a drawing for a free 1-month membership. So that's really, really exciting. Also, if you want to follow us, please do so on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. I'm at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. He is at Language Olympic, and Shane is at DET Sports Shane, and Freddie Mills 7 for our man Freddie. Instagram DFS_Coach Talk. Again, you can sign up and jump in Discord. We'll get you in there right away by going to dfscoachtalk.com. Our charity of choice is mambon3.org. That's MAMBAONTHREE.org. And that is a wonderful site set up by the Bryant family. And speaking of that, Monday is Kobe Day. It's 8/24. And we have put together a really, really exciting announcement. And I've said for the last 2 podcasts, we were going to announce it this weekend. And we are going to open the show tomorrow announcing that entire situation with what we're going to be offering on Monday for Kobe Day on 8/24. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're very, very excited about it.
But the key point there is keep your eyes on Twitter this weekend.
Yes, we will be splashing it on Twitter big time, and there will be some really good things to win. We'll give, it could be some memberships. It could be some cool Coach Talk merch. It could be all kinds of things. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a private dinner with Mr. Andrew Hansen. No, I'm just kidding. Mrs. Hanson wouldn't go for that. All right. I want to thank our sponsors, mybookie.ag and tvg.com. Sign up with both of them. Use the promo code Coach Talk, no space, one word, and you will not be sorry. That is it, my friend. Let's get this sucker posted so we can get some listening done and get people to start building these lineups for another crushing day here for us in a positive manner at DFS Coach Talk. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, let's have a big weekend, and just make sure you know with the membership what you get is a full FanDuel lineup, cash and GPP, every day, every slate, every sport, and then the coach's clipboard on DraftKings. So jump in, try one of the memberships, and hopefully we can all crush it together.
Absolutely. And if you do join before tee off tomorrow, you'll get our cash and GPP bonus golf lines that we'll be posting here within the hour. So thank you all for listening again. Great podcast today, Andrew. Shout out to Shane too, and we had team Luka against team Kawhi, and Shane won his championship over me. So I want to take my hat off to Shane and congratulate you. And we'll get you the next game. So wonderful, man. Thank you all for listening so much. We really, really appreciate it. Those thumbs up and likes and subscribes mean everything to us. So please continue to do that as we continue to bring 7-day-a-week podcasts to you in front of the paywall. That's our goal. So thank you again for joining us, and we will look to crush it again tomorrow in DFS.